Hey, I'm Rutledge,
Hey, I'm Connor.
and we're Friends Stream Sports. We're real friends who talk about real sports in real time. And Connor, it's our goodbye night tonight to Madden 20 because next week we're gonna upgrade and we'll be playing Madden 22.
Yes, Rutledge, our swan song to Madden 20. For those who have stuck with us, just want to give a big thanks to everybody who continued to watch our old rosters. These rosters have officially become old enough, and Rutledge and I have maybe gathered up a few extra coins in the couch cushions, and next week we will be sporting some Madden 22. So let's have a good last go at it here at Madden 20, Rutledge.
I am excited to throw some pick sixes. That's what I do, and that's what I do really, really well. Um, but happy to be out here. This is as we're now into September. Um, And you have to think, Connor, we've come full around to September. There's a lot going on now in the sport. So tonight we're going to just kind of dive right in. And I want to start with baseball. And I want to start with the playoff race. I hope you're ready as we're here in New Orleans. Shout out to the people in New Orleans. Hope you're recovering okay. We know that there's a big mess still for you to get through. But I hope you get some football soon. So Connor, I want to start with turning this kickoff and going through the baseball standings in the Major League Baseball and where we're at. In the American League in the East, Tampa leads the division 8.5 games over the Yankees. In the Central, the White Sox have 10 games over Cleveland. In the West, Houston has 5.5 games over Seattle. In the East, Atlanta has a game and a half over Philly. And then in the Central, Milwaukee has 11 games over Cincinnati. And in the West, San Francisco has 1 game over Los Angeles. So really you can see that we are, even though we're early September, a lot of divisions are really starting to get buttoned up. But of course there's some NL battles. As we look at that, of course we're all going to be magnified in on the NL East because it's Atlanta, Philly a game and a half back, and the Mets are 4 game back. We still have tons of baseball to go. In the West, it is what we thought it was. San Francisco is a game ahead of the Dodgers, but they have 14 and a half games over the Padres. We know the Padres have been doing really well. I've been really impressed with. Oh, there's my first pick. I've been really impressed with what they've been doing, but those two teams are just way too stacked. So Connor, in the leagues, of course you can say the rest of them feel very locked up. How do you feel about those two that are kind of wide open?
Yeah, I think as it relates to the NL East, you've got some. You still have a ton of baseball left to be played, right? And everything. You've got a ton of baseball left to be played. It feels like it's coming down to the end. The thing about it, and I saw an article. Jacob DeGrom, or pardon me, not Jacob DeGrom, Syndergaard, the pitcher for the Mets. My apologies. Rutledge, if you just remember, I did come back very late last night, so please don't ding me. I hope I get like a little travel. Jacob DeGrom. Hope I got a little travel note there. But, now I threw a pick. His arm's healthy. I think that the Mets, they have had some interesting issues. I don't know if you remember seeing that story of because the Mets players were getting booed, the Mets players started booing the Mets fans, which I thought was pretty funny. The NL East, it doesn't feel like the winner of the NL East is going to be the World Series champ necessarily, but could very well have something to say in terms of a wild card spot, have something to say in terms of taking one of those NL East teams or NL West teams as far as they want to go. As this thing wraps up, I really think that we don't quite know how the NL East is going to shake out. With that, I think that it's going to be fair to say that we're going to be seeing some combination of the Dodgers winning the division with the Giants getting second, or we're going to be seeing that vice versa. The Dodgers the Dodgers are spending more money than the Yankees spent in their heyday by a lot in terms of percentage of payroll. in terms of percentage of payroll. So, definitely interesting to watch that work out. And I think that the West is definitely shaping up to be the best as it relates to um, the NL.
Oh, absolutely. Let's just even look at the wild card standings. So the Dodgers are 1 game behind the Giants for leading the division. They have a 13.5 game lead for the first wild card spot. And while we said that San Diego was 14.5 games outside of the division, um, they are 1 game ahead of Cincinnati. So it's really come down to that division is really holding on to the wild card race as well. It makes it really tough for whoever it gets, whoever doesn't win the NL East, because they're not going to have any room in the wild card play. Speaking of wild card play, in the American League, um, the AL East is pretty much running the wild card table, as no one blocked anyone on that play. Um, In the American League, the Yankees lead with a half game over Boston, but then third place in the wild card race is Toronto. So there's, excuse me, there's no real room for anyone to have any sort of play in the wild card race. Either you kind of have to win your division this year, or else you're really looking from the outside looking in. So I know we're only on September 7th. There's so much baseball left, but there's really not. And I'm loving this baseball season of how it sort of tightened itself up. It'll be interesting to see what takes we do on the playoffs. I know we didn't cover as much of the playoffs last year, but there's a lot of great storylines still coming in, and I'm more happy that one of the American League divisions that we went through is at the top of the wild card race, because you know what that means. Once again, Connor, just like how we changed coaches around in Texas, we have changed the face of baseball. Can you imagine that? All through a good cup of Daddle's coffee. We're doing it one sports take at a time here on French Stream Sports.
Oh yeah, no, that's very true. I think we've definitely talked a lot about the NL West, and we seem to have talked a lot about the AL East. And oddly enough, Rutledge, the NL West and the AL East, if you were to take the top some of those top teams in my favorite baseball stat, your favorite baseball stat, that is run differential. You see a lot of you see another pick there.
How was
and
that
this
a
one
pick?
might go back to the house. You see a lot of those teams there in the very top. LA Dodgers with 219 plus 219 run differential. The next highest is Houston and Tampa Bay. They're both tied at 175, followed by the Giants at 145 run differential there. So, that's always a great stat in determining who's going to be, who's the best team is, who's winning by a lot. And I think that, yet again, you see the teams that are, have the best records, the teams that are passing the eye test. There's just with as many stats in baseball, right? I feel like there's, you need an abacus and a calculator and an advanced math degree sometimes to know your baseball stats. But just by following that simple stat of run differential really can peel back the onion to help you understand, who the really good teams are.
Definitely. Run differential is our favorite stat. Our second favorite stat is last 10 on their streaks. Of course, the best last 10 game streak right now in baseball actually belongs to the Philadelphia Phillies, who are on 8-2 in their last 10. So, tons of baseball drama. Lots to talk about as we close out this. Tons of playoff drama coming. Didn't want to hand the ball off there on that RPO. What a swan song here for Madden 22. I seem to have gotten worse at this game over the past year, Connor, than getting better.
Rutledge, that's that tends to happen when your opponent really hones in on what he's trying to do week in, week out, regardless of the rosters. And you just threw another pick.
There's no way that one was a pick.
Good job there, Rutledge. So no, it's I think these playoffs are going to be a lot of fun because you've got a lot of really quality teams. I think the Dodgers are definitely kind of the class of the NL, but I think in the AL you're going to see a little bit more of a wide open playoff, not just in terms of games, but really as you follow some of the money lines and where folks are placing their bets on. I think that's going to be really interesting to follow.
Definitely a lot to follow going on right now. Speaking of that, we have multiple people following us this evening. Thank you for coming out for our show, Friend Stream Sports, tonight at 8 o'clock on Twitch. Connor is definitely using all of his coaching sense. I feel like you know my Madden playstyle all too well to where I can't just do anything anymore.